As for the Sendible team, here is a quick photo of a few of us in North London in our headquarters with our Facebook t-shirts. As you can see there, we're marketing partners with Facebook, Instagram partners as well. There's a few accolades there from G2 Crowd's top 50 fastest growing technology company, Inc. 5000, and Deloitte as well, their technology fast 500. So our goal is to give you the right tools to improve your efficiency when managing social media, so that you can focus on growing your business instead. And we did ask a poll when you guys registered for this webinar. There's a few different answers. Here are the results. Thank you very much to everyone who did answer. So top in the list was improving the engagement on your social media posts. Not too far behind that was tracking and reporting of your efforts. Monitoring keywords and topics of interest is always important as well. Discovering more content and content scheduling. So, I mean, all of these areas are going to be covered in here. I think the plan, I'm going to go through improving engagement and showing you a few of the scheduling options and how to kind of engage with people. I'll also then be showing how to track and report before handing over to Alfie, who's going to take you through a few new features and a bit more of the content side of it, finding that content to share. Okay, here's the agenda. There is also going to be, after that improving engagement part, a bit of a show and tell. So a few sort of how to use Sendible for different scenarios, different sort of use cases, using Sendible if you're an agency as well. And then a new feature sneak peek. So we put that at the end there, trying to entice you. There's definitely going to be some interesting stuff to see when we get to that stage. So improving engagement. Understanding your brand's persona is obviously important. So you can create content that's going to be relevant. It's going to help people, entertain them, delight them. So we've got our smart post feature, which I'm going to run through, attaching images and videos, using hashtags and tagging pages, and then the all important engaging with followers. When they do comment, mention, retweet you, whatever else, you want to be picking up on those and getting back. So let me move on to the Sendible screen. Make that nice and big for everyone. And I'm going to start with scheduling posts. So compose box up here is going to be where you can do that. We will go through how you add your services and add your different accounts later on. But for now, I've already got quite a few added. I'm going to select Facebook, Instagram, and let's go for Twitter for these 3 accounts. So I've got 3 brands here. As you can see, there's some other ones in here. I've got plenty going on. But I've selected those 3 for now. Type out my content in the content box here. I can go and attach emojis if I need to. Just scroll through those, add the all important emojis. Down the bottom here, I can attach images and videos, which I'll cover more in a moment. But when I mentioned tailoring your posts, depending on each network, that can be done with these tabs here. So it's called Smart Posts. And what that allows you to do is, should you need to have a slightly different tone of voice on Facebook than you do on Instagram or Twitter or any other networks, you can do. Hashtags is probably one of the biggest ones. You can add hashtags on Twitter, which you probably wouldn't use as much on Facebook. As you can see, they haven't copied across. Instagram, again, hashtags are used quite a lot, but the image is probably the most unique thing about Instagram. It's quite restricted on what you can and can't use. So you don't have to have the same image on Instagram as you do for the other 2. You can just add that here, and then for the other 2, you add it on this on the original tab. So when I do press attach, I can add a file from my computer, browse images, videos, documents, whatever it might be. Give you an idea of the formats you can use. You can see that with the question mark. So there are some restrictions with the different networks. That's what we support and will allow you to add. You can also pull from a URL if you have an image URL. Pretty easy to post that in there and fetch the images. Anything you may have used in the past is going to appear in here. So if it's just your own images that you've used, they will all appear in here. But also, if you know that your team member who's sharing a sort of Sendible account with you, so Alfie, Let's see what he's been up to. He's got a few sort of fitness photos by the looks of it. I can go in here, see what he's used, easily attach those. We can name them obviously as well to make them searchable. It all becomes very easy to monitor that content. You can also pull from Dropbox and Google Drive. So if you're already using these two locations to store content, by all means, you've got the integration in here. You can pull from there. We have a nice integration with Canva. So I'm sure many of you have used this in the past when you're designing your graphics and your posts. Very helpful, particularly for Instagram again, because of their restrictions on the images. But also you can design a Facebook cover photo, whatever it might be, block graphics. Let's go for Instagram. You can see here I've got the dimensions that Instagram are going to need me to stay within. I can upload my own photos in here and add all the text that I need. But I can then do everything I need to do in here, hit publish. That's going to attach it to my my Sendible post, and I'm not going to have to worry about getting any bounce posts or the image being cropped in a strange way when it's sent to Instagram. This is really going to handle all of that for me, and it's nice, nice little integration within Sendible. You haven't got to leave Sendible and go to Canva's own site. It's sort of within the iframe there. You can also search on Google and Flickr for images, and of course YouTube for any videos. So as far as finding that media, should have you covered from that little attach box down here. One thing I didn't mention was the character counts. So Twitter being the most important one really, with its fairly less strict than it used to be, but still fairly strict. You've got that down here to bear, to make sure you're not going to exceed that when you are posting. So when you hit schedule here, you're going to be able to choose the date and the time you're looking to post. You can use the optimal time feature as well. So this is going to be based on the profiles you've selected up the top. And it's going to, the more you use Sendible, the better it's going to be at giving you, when your audience are most likely to be, well, they're flicking through their streams, most likely to engage. So if you've got audiences across the world, it might be, if I selected just the UK audience here, it might be a different time that it recommends me than if I was posting to people in the US. We also have our smart queues feature. So rather than just choosing a date and a time, the smart queues will allow you to group together a bunch of posts. So if I hit the settings on this, it's one I've already set up. Currently have the recycle messages turned to on, and no one else has helped me, but I can obviously add my team members if I want them to be able to add content here. But how these queues work is you would select times throughout the week, predetermined times. We've got one on Monday, one on Friday by the looks of it. And then I can put as many posts into that queue as I wish. And at each of those predetermined times, it's just going to grab one post and send it out. So if I had this turned off and I put 2 posts in, Monday it's going to choose one and send it out. And then Friday it's going to choose the next one and send that out. And that'll be the end of the queue until I add more content. If I hit recycle, I'll see it's going to keep on going and going. So really good way to kind of keep evergreen content ongoing and constantly being on top of social media. Always have something being posted out without just repeating the same thing over and over again. You can put a load of different posts in there. An example would be the webinar that we have. I'd like to post about the webinar and let people know what's going on. So I've got a few different ways of basically saying the same thing. Basically saying, hey guys, it'd be great to see you at the webinar. But I've worded it slightly differently on each one, and then it's a bit more engaging for my audience when they see all these different posts rather than the same generic post each week. You turn up to the webinar, here's the link, or whatever it might have been. It's also very useful for tracking purposes. So if you do put a load of posts through one queue, you can then report on the performance of just those posts. So when I come to reporting later, you'll see I can see how many clicks, likes, retweets I had on all of these posts that run through here, as opposed to just the one-off post I've been sending under the schedule area. If I add an image on Instagram very quickly, that will let me schedule or send for approval. So under schedule, it's going to tell me to schedule then for later today. If I take that away, I can send it straight away. Send for approval is another useful button if you are working within a team, you've got a manager maybe, or you just want to send it to your colleague to add an image that you haven't got at hand just yet. Again, I can select Alfie. Ask him to add the image that we might have spoke about. He might be working on it at this current time. He's going to then get a notification if I hit send for approval in his Sendible account. So up here, he'll get a notification, and he'll also get an email prompting him to jump into his account and approve that for me. Cool. So that is the sort of scheduling side of it. We do have our calendar as well, where you'll be able to see all of those posts as they sort of look throughout the week. So here, at the moment, I've got no filters turned on, so I'm seeing everyone's posts in this account. I think the A there is Alfie, the JC is Johnny, one of my own posts. So we've got full transparency on this account. I can filter down to just see my own if I wanted to. I can filter to just see the full range accounts maybe. So you can see there's nothing scheduled for this Facebook page. Pretty useful if you don't want to, if you're worried you're missing out on a few posts and missing out on a few accounts, and you've overshadowed them maybe. You won't be doing that anymore. As you can see there, I just clicked on an empty space and it's already chosen the date and sort of the time for me to post. I can drag and drop these posts. I can click on them and edit them, delete them. Maybe I can see Johnny here has written this post. Maybe I think he could use a better image. I can press edit, either add the image myself and change it, or I could even send it back to Johnny with a note saying, I think there's better images out there. Do you want to take a look and see what else we can add? Cool. And then, so where the outbox is all of your sort of scheduled posts, the inbox is going to be any of those engagements. So hopefully after all that scheduling, you would have been pulling in plenty of engagements. Here you're going to see everything in one place in our priority inbox. So at the top here, we've got a mention of Sendible on Twitter. I've got a comment, someone's commented or retweeted us on Twitter again. See if we've got any Facebook ones. Here we go. We've got a direct message to Sendible's Facebook. Everything's in one place. You can go through individual streams if you wanted to, if you prefer to work that way. And there's a few extra little bits as well in terms of you can sort of monitor particular users and particular hashtags. But yeah, you can filter if some people prefer to work through each account at once. Some people prefer to have all the engagements in one area and almost like an inbox, like an email inbox, and sort of get to, once you've replied to every one of them, get down to inbox 0. So Sendible Support has mentioned Sendible. I can like, retweet, share the full conversation if we've had some back and forth, repost them, obviously reply, probably the most important one here. Even assign it to other people in my team. Maybe Alfie's knows the answer and I don't. I can ping it across to him. And again, I can leave him a little note saying why I've done so, what he needs to do. Another final thing to sort of look at in here is the sentiment analysis. So all the posts will get a red or a green dot beneath it, or grey if it doesn't pick up on any sentiment. But it's a nice quick indication to see, right, this red one is probably going to be a negative post. So I want to reply to this straight away. In this case, it's not that positive, but it's not that negative, but it's it would have picked up on the words fail. Sendible does do a pretty good job of finding what's positive and what's negative. Cool. So I'm now going to just jump into the monitor tab. So where engage is your direct engagements, as sort of seen, messages, comments, retweets. Monitor and the keywords is going to be where you can kind of expand that search slightly. So if someone has mentioned Hootsuite on social media, but they haven't tagged us, that wouldn't have been picked up by the engage area. So here it has, so we can pick up on these. Again, I can reply to these people, assign posts, reply, do everything I could do in the last screen. You can also set the sentiment as well. So if Sendible does get it wrong, sarcasm tends to be the biggest thing that will throw it off. But yet you will be able to alter that. And then should reporting be something you were looking to do, if you really want to report on the performance of your the sentiment of your mentions versus a competitor's mentions, perhaps. Obviously, you want to make sure that the sentiment score is correct on all those posts. You can then run a report once you've been through here and made sure it's all looking good. How you set these up is through the new monitor, and then you can review. Also, you can pull in review sites and people's reviews. But with the keywords, it's going to be mainly social media, blog sites, photo sites. It's quite a large list of areas it's going to pull from. So it's a really nice way to find those mentions that you might not have picked up on before, or you might be looking at you might be taking quite a lot of time right now searching all over the internet. This will hopefully bring it all in one place, make it very easy for you. So in here, has one of these terms is the top box, and that is going to be the main word that it's looking for. So we've got some examples here. Maybe I want to put in cola. Has any of these words? I could maybe put Pepsi or Coke, and then doesn't have these words. This is going to be an exclusion filter. So if I don't want people talking about soft drinks or hot drinks, it's just a way of excluding certain words. So if you've got a brand name, or the competitor's got quite a brand name, which is a pretty generic word in whatever language it is you're searching in, you might want to then exclude certain mentions to really make sure you haven't got a load of noise in there, and everything that is coming in is going to be actually to do with either your own mentions or competitors or the industry. You can pull from a certain location as well, and you can even get email notifications each day or each week telling you those new posts. And then if you just want to see the negative ones or just want to see the positive ones, you'll be able to have those coming to you as well. We do have this word cloud which appears down the right hand side. Pretty useful in the case of setting up those keywords and knowing what to put in the inclusion filter and the exclusion filter. You will be able to make sure that the stuff is going to be relevant. This will hopefully give you some ideas if you sort of think, well, I've got some results here which aren't, they're kind of not really related to what I'm doing. Check out what's appearing in here, and that might make a few alterations. You can always edit these whenever you need to, and that should hopefully help you get the best results. Now I'm going to jump to the measure tab. This is the final area I think I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to pass you over to Alfie. So right now this is where this screen here is the reports hub. I can very quickly choose one of these 9 predetermined reports. Engagement is just showing metrics across all my connected accounts. So for me, that's my personal ones, that's the full range finishing ones we saw earlier, and some of Sendible's ones as well. These ones you can look at one account at a time, so just Sendible's Facebook or just Sendible's Twitter, and you can't pick and choose what the metrics are. So pretty useful for a quick glance, but certainly not, you can't sort of build your own and really kind of focus on certain areas. That's what you would do with the report builder. So here I might want to be looking at audience growth. So maybe it's for full range. I'm looking at their audience growth. Over the last 30 days, I want to show it as 2 columns. This is obviously a few bit of formatting you can do to, if you wanted to add annotations to the side of graphs, you can do. So pretty useful to be able to alter the how that looks. And here we have the box, which is where I can add my metrics. Right now it's a blank report. General reports is going to be metrics for all my connected profiles. So again, for me, with sort of 3 brands, if you like, added, probably best to avoid doing these and jumping in, ignoring my own, scrolling down to full ranges, looking at their Facebook. I can add the audience growth metric, which is what I've decided to look at in this graph, in this report, and that's going to be added in the back there. But there's tons of different things you can include. You can have a really simple one. You can make it as advanced as you want. Maybe for audience growth, I have added that there. I can go back and do the same for their Instagram page, then for their LinkedIn, then for their Twitter, and just have those 4 metrics. Quite simple, but pretty valuable. Or I can just focus on their Facebook, and I can go really in depth and show when the best days and time is to post, demographics of their audience, monthly impressions they've had, how many views. I won't go through every single one. Definitely a good idea to check them out and see what you can do. New likes versus unlikes is quite a nice one. If you sort of see a lot of likes coming in, but you're thinking, well, the number of the sort of size of the audience isn't going up. Maybe there's a reason why people are unliking. These sort of things you'll be able to pick up on and really generate some useful data to then obviously put forward in your social media strategy and improve upon. If you were monitoring keywords, so where people have been mentioning Sendible, these don't have to be direct engagements. These are just people using the word, Sendible on social media. I can get a list of all those mentions, compare where they're coming from and the different trends surrounding them. The sentiment, it plays a key part in here, so I can really see those which were negative. I can obviously run a pie chart and see positive versus negative, and even compare a number of different terms. So if you did want to compare yourself with a competitor, probably a good way to do that. Also, influencers talking about your terms and the different sources. If you're posting links through Sendible, you will be able to report on those. I didn't actually post a link in the compose box earlier, but all our links are by default shorted using bit.ly. So that makes them trackable, and you'll be able to then get some insight into how well they performed. And then also, if you were looking at posting through the smart queues and grouping posts, as a sort of campaign, like the webinar one I had, this is going to be where you can do that. So I can click on that. It's going to open up in another sort of similar box and give me the retweets, how many times I was retweeted, how many clicks I had, and how many likes, comments, all that stuff. You'll be able to get the stats from just that sort of subset of posts that were through that queue. Finally, Google Analytics. So very insightful if you really want to sort of see where your social has driven traffic to your site. I definitely recommend linking up your Google Analytics account and then start adding these to your social reports. Include them all together. Again, there's quite a few different things you can look at adding to see where this traffic's coming from. And then again, assess what's happening maybe month to month, week by week, however often you're looking to do it. And then you can also alter your strategy. You can print these reports, save them as a PDF, share them with other users on the Sendible account, obviously. If you wanted to add your own cover page, you can do. So I can upload the company logo, who I am, what I do. I can even email this out. So if you're an agency, you could email this to your clients, obviously just including, like I have, full ranges accounts. Email it straight to your clients on a monthly basis, weekly basis, however often they're asking to see them and you're looking to show them. Maybe it's just some superiors, managers in your organization. The CEO, CMO wants to know what sort of has been going on with social media recently. You can tell them. You can get this report up and running just each month. Maybe have a meeting towards the end of the month. So pop the 26th in there, hit save. That's going to be sent out to anyone you've put in the top. Everyone going to that meeting will now know what's been happening. And then that's obviously going to give everyone a bit of a head start when you jump in that meeting and really get some detailed insights into what you can do better, what's not working, what is working, and you can carry on doing. Obviously, yeah, being so flexible, being so customizable, it's up to you how simple, how advanced you want to take that. You can have, depending on what plan you're on, you can have different ones saved in here. So I've actually already got an audience growth one for full range, which is I've had for a little while. A bit more information in there maybe. I can delete that now. I've got a duplicate one, edit it if I need to. Always add more modules, so they're always very very easy to go through. I think now I'm going to pass you back to Alfie. He's going to look at a bit of the setting up of services. So enjoy that.
Thank you for that, Dan. Hi guys, yeah, my name's Alfie. Thank you very much for that, Dan. I'm just going to share my screen now with you guys, so hopefully we can go back into my account and then we can discuss the different services and different things that we have here. So first thing that I'd sort of like to cover would be the actual services. So for those of you that don't know, our platform is quite different in the sense that each function within the platforms that we integrate with are broken down into individual services. So the ability to post to a Facebook fan page counts as one service. The ability to post to a group or the wall of a group counts as another service. And the ability to add a stream counts as another service. So all of the functions within each platform are broken down into services, and this allows for a little bit more flexibility. You can choose exactly how you want your dashboard to work for you through the allocation of these services. So what's worth mentioning is that with Instagram, so Instagram's API is quite tricky. They are quite restricting for third-party tools. But not to worry though, we have all of the functionality. So you have the ability to add a stream, view all of your analytics for your Instagram account, but you can also actively post from Sendible directly to Instagram using the Instagram posting in brackets business profile service. So there's two different ways in which you can actually post to Instagram. There can be directly from the platform to Instagram, and that'll be for singular images only. Now it's important to mention that this is only available if the profile is a business profile, not a personal one. And you can schedule it just as you would in the compose box, and it will go straight out. It will be no push notification required. But if you wanted to schedule videos and multiple images, then you would do so in exactly the same way in the compose box, but you have to add this service, which is the Instagram reminder. And essentially what will happen is when you schedule it a couple of minutes before, you'll receive an in-app notification on your phone and an email as well. And what you'll have to do is copy the content from the notification into the app. And this is the only workaround that we have at the moment in order for you to actually publish videos or multiple images at one time, given their API restrictions. So it's definitely worth mentioning that if you guys are interested in using Sendible for Instagram. We also are one of, if not the only platform at the moment that allows you to post directly to Google My Business here. So you can post updates to your Google My Business account, which is great. And what we have here is, I'll show you what it looks like, the functionality within the Compose box. There's a couple of different options. So if I just click in Compose and I click on our test page here, you can type whatever message that you like. This, and there's a couple of different options that you have. You can attach an image, but you can also post link to your Google My Business profile as part of the post body, a learn more button, book button, sign up button, order online button, a buy button, or a get offer button. And essentially you can send that now, you can send it for approval, or you can schedule it just clicking on the calendar, clicking on a date and a time as well. So you've got various different options there when you've added your Google My Business account. It's worth mentioning that the account must be authenticated. I believe we have some documents. If you guys were interested, you can leave it in the comment section below and we can post that article as to how to get your account authenticated, and then you can posting won't be an issue. It's worth mentioning that if it wasn't authenticated, then the post will bounce. So that is something that is quite important when you're posting to Google My Business. And that sort of brings me on to bounce posts. So if a post doesn't go out for whatever reason, you can actually look here in the bounce section. A lot of the time it might be due to the image not matching up with the platform's requirements or things like that. And one way in which we can, or we will reduce this, or essentially get rid of this, is a new feature that we have, which is called the image editor, which I'll explain a little bit more about later, and you guys will actually see what it looks like. It's quite an exciting new feature that allows you to, obviously edit these images, add filters, crop them, and make sure that they fit the requirements for each profile that you want to post out to, whether it be Facebook, Google My Business, Instagram, things like that. So It's a great way in which we can avoid bounce posts, especially with the different image requirements that the platforms have. Another feature that we have within the services section is the integration with Facebook ads. So you can simply add this here if you're currently running any Facebook ads on Ad Manager. You can read and respond to incoming comments from your Facebook ads through the priority inbox. So if you've got any live ads and people are interacting with those and you believe it's worth reaching out to those individuals, then you come into the priority inbox here. And essentially what it is a destination for all of your within the engage section. Yeah, it's a destination for all of your high priority pieces of content. So any mentions, comments, questions, or things like that, which our algorithm believes that it's worth you looking at or possibly responding to, that will filter through into the priority inbox, as well as any comments on your ads. So it's definitely worth having a look and seeing here if you've missed anything important related to your ads or just your profiles in general, whether it be a mention or a comment or something like that. It's definitely worth having a look. We also have the sentiment analysis, as I mentioned before. So the color of the circle here represents the different type of sentiment related to the piece of content. So green, positive, gray is neutral, and red would be negative. So that's essentially where you would look if any of your interactions from your Facebook ads would be. And then we also have things like RSS feeds. So if you go into the content section and go into feeds, this is a great way to add certain feeds. If you like a website which posts popular blogs, articles, you can essentially go here, new feed. And if we come publications or blogs, you can put in a URL. And once you've done that, so as you can see here, I've got a couple here, like a men's style feed, something like that. I can actually add what's called an auto poster. So all of these articles here, whenever this feed publishes a new article, I can choose if I want it to automatically publish onto my profiles as well. So if I choose my Twitter account, for example, I can choose the update frequency. I can make it sure it's scheduled or as a draft, even add it to a queue if I like. And you can also tell to alert me when posts are published, so I can get it by email, and I can choose where I want this to be active or paused, and then press save. So it's a great way to just continuously post content from a feed which you quite like to use. And then, you don't have to set up the auto post, but you can add all of these feeds here and view a feed of all of those. And what you can also do is you can add a Google Alerts feed as well. So essentially you just grab the URL and search for it, and you can add it, and it will come up here as well. So you have all of that there for new pieces of content and things like that. Next sort of part of the webinar, I'm just going to focus slightly on those who are either agencies or those who are just trying to manage multiple brands. You can actually, if you're managing multiple brands, there's a couple of ways in which you can do this through Sendible. One of which is called the service lists. So once you've added all of your service lists for, let's say, multiple brands or for multiple clients, you can actually group those services here. So if I was to add a new list, for example, like this. Okay, I create this list. So this one of the brands that I manage, for example, I can add various services into this list like this. Okay, so let's say I'll add these three. And then what we can do is I can actually go into the compose box and I can select the list instead of selecting the individual services. So this is quite handy, especially if you've got quite a few different services that you've added and you don't want to have to keep selecting them every time you schedule. You can just click on the list here, type your piece of content, and then you can send it out or schedule it. So you can group different brands and things using the service lists feature. And this makes it a little bit seamless and easy to do. So that's essentially how you would do that. And we also have within the platform various different user types. So we have what's called a user hierarchy here. And what we can essentially do is when you guys are adding a new user, there's a couple of different options. So when you put their credentials in, you can do that here. And then in the account section, you have 3 different user profiles. So you have an admin. This is someone who has full access to the tool, can apply restrictions to other users if need be, and can jump into other accounts. So yeah, you have a team member. Team member is someone who also has full access to the tool, but can be restricted. And I'll go into that in a little bit later. And then you have a client. So a client will also have access to the tool, but the client will only be able to see their profiles. They won't be able to look and see another user's services, for example. So client A will only be able to see client A's profiles. So it's great for clients or brands. You can choose who you want to manage that client, and in the workflow, you can actually choose whether you want this individual, this user, to request approval before publishing. So you can add that, and then you can press create user. And as you can see here, we have a nice little dashboard with the hierarchy. So as you can see, I manage 3 different clients: Starbucks, McDonald's, and Trampoline Town. You know, my colleague Messian manages 3 clients as well. So if you're an agency, or if you're managing multiple brands, we recommend that you add the brand as a user. It also makes it quite seamless when you're jumping between dashboards. So this is my account now, but if I was managing McDonald's like I am here, it's just a test account, or Starbucks or McDonald's. If I jump into it, the dashboard will be completely different. This is just a test account, so yeah, I don't have much content related to it, but as you can see, if I was to go into the compose box, only this McDonald's services are here. So it makes it very seamless, especially if you are managing multiple brands or clients, just to switch between those dashboards. So yeah, another thing that I thought would be worth mentioning as well would be our white label. So our white label option is our most exclusive package, and it allows you to rebrand the dashboard with your own logo, with your own color scheme on your own domain. And it's great. A lot of our clients use it as an extension of their own brand, or it acts as like a revenue stream as well. So you can give clients access to the tool, and you can charge them a certain fee. It works as a great way like that. So this is just a test account which we have. If you guys are interested to learn more about our white label, you can always get in touch. You can email us at sales@sendible.com, and we can always give you a little bit more information about the white label and all of its features and add-ons that you have available to you there as well. Now, for the moment that you guys have been waiting for, new features that we have available. So one of the new features that is coming very, very soon is the image editor. As I mentioned before, in the compose box, the image editor allows you to change the images, add filters and things like that. I will show you guys exactly what that looks like now. So this is a little preview. You're in the compose box, you select an image, and then you click edit that image. And then you can add different filters and things like that. So there's quite a few different options that you have there. And then there's some other things as well. So just show you guys, you can change things like saturation. You can choose, Facebook, Instagram, or Google My Business. You can crop it. It fits the correct dimensions. So this is going to reduce the amount of bounce posts and things like that. So it's a great feature, and we're very excited. And it will be with us very, very soon. So it's just in testing at the moment. You can also add text as well. So you've got a quite high level of customization here. And you can change colors of the text. You can add stickers. I think we've got some emojis here, which you can do. You can add. So there's quite a high level of customization, and yeah, it's a feature that we're really excited about. So yeah, you have the image editor. Another feature that we're looking to implement very soon is the emoji picker. So in the compose box, you have a wider range of emojis. You can also search for emojis as well. They've got sort of like a slightly better visual look to them, and yeah, you can just select them within the compose box and they'll be ready to go. And they are specific to different profiles as well. So the emojis for Facebook look like slightly different to Twitter, I believe. But yeah, great feature that we've got coming. And another thing that we have released is the product blog. So product updates and things like that. Sendible, www.sendible.com/product. This articles that we release and our marketing team releases to give you guys the latest information and things like that about our new features, improvements and things like that. So it's definitely worth having a look at just to get a little bit more information on what we have in the pipeline. And we also have the feature request portal. So if I just jump in to here, you guys can go to feedback.sendible.com. I'll just wait for this to load, and you guys can actually put forward various different feature requests here. And the features which get the most votes will get, or features which get over a certain number of votes get brought into our development or the development team's meeting, and we can see if we can implement those. So definitely worth having a look at. You can see which ones have received the most votes and which will possibly be implemented very soon. And that's at feedback.sendible.com. And yeah, that's essentially all we have time for today. There's going to be a Q&A session right now. I'm just going to go back into the slides here. So I have my colleague Pete from the support team. He's on the webinar as well, and he's happy to jump in and answer some of your guys' questions. But just a little bit of an FYI, so we have some contact information here. Yes, if for any advice or general inquiries, you guys can always send us an email at sales@sendible.com. For bugs and difficulties with posting, if you have an error to report or unsure why your post is failing, after checking the knowledge base, you can submit a ticket here. You can also send an email to support@sendible.com as well. So yeah, thank you guys very much for attending. It's been great having you here. I am now going to start the Q&A session. So if we just leave that on here, and my colleague Pete will be able to answer some of your questions. Great. Thanks, guys.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay? Excellent stuff. So yeah, thank you very much, Alfie. That was very good. I'm just going to find a way to turn off my camera so you don't have to look at my ugly mug. Brilliant. So some of the questions that we've got asked there is, one of the most important questions we've got asked there is something that we've had a number of tickets about and questions about recently, and that is Facebook not appearing in the drop down when you try and connect to service. Essentially, there's changes that are happening at Facebook that they're playing about with that has caused some problems here. The best thing to bear in mind when it comes to Facebook and the integration, and yeah, you're totally right there, James, but Instagram Business is also having this issue because it's tied to Facebook, obviously. Now, the best thing to remember with adding Facebook and the Instagram Business integration is to remember that you always need to be an admin of the account, and then try and add the service. Make sure you're fully logged out of Facebook and Instagram Business or Instagram on your browser. The reason for that being is that cache and cookies can sometimes get in the way and cause some problems. So it's always best to log out of these other social sites when you're trying to connect to services, or indeed open up an incognito window. If that's failing, what I would recommend is actually going to the settings and business integrations within Facebook. And in there, you're going to see options for Sendible and Sendible Business. Now, it's important that what you'd have to do is actually click on these and then select at the bottom, remove business integration. Now, it's important when you do this that you don't actually remove the Sendible services inside of Sendible, so Facebook, Instagram Business, leave those there. Once you've removed the Facebook, the Sendible and Sendible Business integration within Facebook, log out of Facebook and return to Sendible, and then click on Services, My Services, go to the services that you're trying to reconnect. If you have a number of Facebook services connected under the same user, you can use the bulk reconnection option. And essentially what this will do is it'll refresh everything. So make sure you fully reconnect all your services for Facebook and Instagram Business. And once you've done that, you should actually see the new Instagram Business account on the drop-down or Facebook on the drop-down. However, if you're still having issues after that, please contact us at support@sendible.com or tweet us at I've forgotten the name of our own Twitter account. Sendible support at Twitter. And also bear in mind that if ever you're in the app, you can also come and speak to us on the live chat as well. Does that help anybody? I can see you typing there, Gail. Sendible doesn't post GIFs to Facebook unless there's been a recent update. GIFs on Insta don't work unless you're scheduling to Instagram TV or stories, and I'm pretty sure you need something like... Sorry, you've completely lost me there, Melissa. I'm going to go back to what I was talking about. I see you're answering Gail Figgins. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So hopefully that answers some of the queries you had about what's going on there with Facebook and when you're trying to add these. Although, of course, if you are still having issues, please contact us. We'd love to hear of our customers, and we love it when hearing off the feature ideas as well. Obviously, as Alfie mentioned there, we have the features ideas portal so that customers can suggest features that they'd like to see. Obviously, we've had an interesting year when it comes to Pinterest, but as already discussed there, some people can see it, some can't. Going back to the question that you had there, James, with regards to some of the features being available for white label accounts. Obviously, when it comes to certain services, we connect to other companies through an API that they receive. We receive from them, and sometimes, unfortunately, it takes a little bit longer to actually get these APIs working for our white label customers. However, that doesn't mean that we're not going to get there. It just means it takes us a little bit longer. Any other questions whilst you've got me here? Mark is typing, James is typing, Nicholas is typing. Okay, James, in regards to the thing with Stefano, if you can contact him directly on that, that'd be great. Mark, just to explain a little bit further how the features ideas portal work, essentially you can log a feature idea there. Once it's received a certain amount of votes, I think the current volume is around 30. Once we've received 30 of those, then we'll actually take it on board and see if it's something we can implement. And then what we'll do is assess the requirements of that and see how easy it is to implement within Sendible there. There's a pen, the link is still displayed in the post. Unfortunately, Trevor, that's not something that we can do. Again, Google My Business is an interesting API connection that we have there. Obviously, you've got the option to create the buttons, and these are great options. But unfortunately, to remove the URL on those, that's not currently possible at the moment. Steph, hopefully, like with some API changes, we can certainly look at that. James, certainly I can ask Stefano to reach out to you. That's not a problem at all, my friend. Okay. Any other questions whilst we're here, guys? Answer Mark Poppins' questions. As I also just said about the better engagement, that is a feature request feature, so we'll need to be able to have enough engagement about that to see how we can develop those sort of features further. Can you? Sorry, guys, I'm just reading. I am still here. I'm just reading and catching up here. Can you create a poll and trying to improve the engagement of people? I can certainly ask the marketing team about that, see how we can improve that, Jocelyn. We're going to have Okay, Suzanne. So the Google My Business query, I think what you're referring to there is when it comes up with 100 posts or so. When you get the message about 100 images, Google My Business in the bounce section, when you go to engage outbox bounce and you see that, essentially, again, this is a limitation with the Google My Business integration from the API side of things. Essentially, with that, what you need to ensure is that the images on your Google My Business account, this isn't talking about your Google Images, but your Google My Business account, ensuring that's less than 100 will make sure that that image issue doesn't happen there. No worries. Sorry, Mark, I am still here. I'm just trying to. One of our clients doesn't show up in the calendar. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, guys. Aside from features, James, I'll have a look into your account and reach out to you about your client there, so we can figure that one out for you. It looks like we might need to do that offline, my friend. Alex, aside from features to monitoring. Aside from features and engagement, anything that was fair engagement is create content that's relevant and helps, entertains, and delights. Okay. So I think you and Mark are on the same page there, Alex. I think what we may need to do in that case is actually arrange something. Bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just going to go on mute 1 moment. Hi guys, I think what Alex and Mark, I think what you're essentially trying to do is have a webinar to better improve engagement on posts. Is that what you're looking at there, guys? Just so I'm on the right page here. Okay, cool. What I'll do is I'll speak to the team and see if we can have a specified webinar about that, because I actually think that's a great idea. Yeah, totally. That'll be a great way to help you guys grow a little bit more as well. So yeah, it looks like it's yeses all across the board for this one. So yeah, that's definitely something we can look at there. So it's well. That is one way to do it, but what I'm thinking we could possibly do for the future there, Melissa, is actually have a dedicated webinar looking at posting, looking at growing engagement, and actually, looking at how you can cater and create better engaging posts. Is that the sort of thing you'd be looking at there, guys? Let's see if we can have a hat trick of 5s again. Exactly. Excellent stuff. Yes, yes. Come on, we can do it. 2 more yeses. Come on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Indeed. Excellent stuff. Is there anything else you want to ask me in the last couple of minutes here, guys? It definitely can be. I know that from experience myself with my own social media accounts. So yeah, we can definitely look at something there, Suzanne. Brilliant stuff. So what we're going to do is wrap this up. And as we said, we'll also be sending out a recorded copy of this webinar so you can actually watch that. Excellent stuff. It certainly does do, James. Brilliant. Thanks a lot, guys, and speak to you soon. Thank you.